Okay, let's talk about challenges and college and things. So, last night I received this little thing from Towson University in the mail, which was, it kind of got me thinking for whatever reason, because I tend to overthink a lot. um, it's very strange for me to see myself as a college grad, mostly because I've been in college for it took me about 7 years to finish college, and the reason for that is because I faced a lot of challenges in my life. The reason I wanted to make this video is because it receiving that in the mail last night basically made me think about like the challenges that we face not only in college, if you go to college, and basically the challenges that we face in life in general. Everyone tends to compare life as a book. Like, this whole entire book is your life, and all books have chapters. Like, one chapter tells one part of your story, and then once you move over to another chapter, something else happens, and it's like a completely different story. To be honest with you, I don't read a whole lot, so I'm gonna explain it in a way that basically makes sense to me, and I hope it makes sense to you. At least it makes sense in my head. So I look at life as kind of like a franchise of movies. Like, like the Harry Potter franchise. Like, there's one movie that tells one story, and then the next movie tells another story, and then the following movie tells one story. But they all tell different stories that brings together one giant story. Like, Harry Potter faces different challenges, meets new people in each movie, but it's all to have it come together to tell you this one gigantic story. At least I hope that made sense. So I basically see life as movies. Like, the best example I can give is like, high school is kind of like one giant movie. Like, you get into high school, you face different challenges in life, like your body's changing, you get into relationships, you start juggling harder classes, you gotta pick out what college you wanna go to, and those are all challenges. And then, like a movie, that ends, and that closes one part of your life, and you move on to the next. And for most people, the sequel is college. And for some people, it's kind of the same length as high school. Like, you get into your university, you're adjusting to life as a college student. You might be paying rent, you get into more complicated relationships, complicated friendships, you're juggling being a college student, you might be working, you might be paying rent. There's all of these challenges that you face. College for me was this long, really long movie, like one of the Lord of the Ring movies length, because it took me 7 years to finish school. So I started out at community college, and I was living in with my family. I started working full time, so I couldn't take a full time schedule at school. So that was challenging for me because I felt like I was going at a pace where everyone else was just like advancing, and I was kind of moving slowly. And not only on top of that, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was a film major at that time. I changed it to music. I was a music major for one semester, and then I switched it over to communications because I felt like, there's more opportunity after college with that degree. And then eventually I did finish community college, and then I moved on to university, which is Towson University. And then along with that came new challenges. Like, my first year, I had to adjust moving away from my hometown. I mean, I moved to different places in my hometown, but I was always in that little area. And then all of a sudden, I'm moving to the upper part of Baltimore. That was an adjustment for me. And then I had to adjust not really knowing a whole lot of people. I had to adjust, paying rent, trying to pay the rent and also trying to eat and trying to figure out how I find that financial balance. And to be fair, I kind of struggled with that for a little bit. And my parents had to help me out a little. And then the biggest challenge came around, and it's the challenge that everybody went through. And that was the 2020 pandemic, where my classroom became my laptop. And that was a little challenging too, because it was a big adjustment. But I'm also going to be honest and say it was kind of nice because I didn't have to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning just to get to my 8 a.m. class, and kind of just like go at my own pace. So my school advisor recommended I take some summer classes, and then I take 5 classes this past fall just so I can graduate on time, or at least graduate by the end of 2020. And that challenge for that summer was, taking on 2 classes, going back to work, moving to a new apartment, like juggling all of that all at the same time. That was a big challenge for me. And then the biggest challenge to kind of end off this whole entire like college experience was, working during a pandemic and taking on 5 classes where 4 of them I had to write like basically 10-page papers. And I've never done that before. That was a huge challenge. There were times where I stayed up until like 5 o'clock in the morning writing papers. There were times where I was so stressed out, I was at work, having panic attacks. And then I turned in my last paper, literally my last paper ever. And it didn't really hit me, and it's because there's really no ceremony. I didn't get a cap and gown. I didn't do grad photos just because I didn't have the time. And it didn't really hit me until like I received this little thing of confetti from the university just saying, "Congratulations, 2020 graduate." That's a big deal to me. And it kind of made me realize that this quote unquote movie is finally coming to an end. Like the credits are rolling. So if you made it this far into the video, you're probably thinking, that's great and all, but what's next? What are you gonna do now? Like, do you have a plan? I do have a plan. I'm not gonna share it here because the plan is something kind of complicated. It's gonna take a lot of work and a lot of papers to sign. And once I feel as though I'm able to achieve this next goal, this plan that I have, I'll share it here. If this video brought you some value, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'm glad you're here.